So hello and a warm Wiki Weekdays welcome to all the guys, gals and non-binary pals watching. I am Lucas Holland and I am joined as always by Karl Smallwood.
Hello, I am here also.
We are indeed. We are both here, Karl, and we are here to do another Wiki Weekdays podcast where both of us bring a wiki of our choosing to discuss and probably make a lot of weird tangents on. And last week we had a little bit of maybe a flub where Karl told me to go to sleep because I was kind of flagging.
You fell asleep on camera.
I've been working a lot.
Yeah, you fell asleep on camera, and now you're blending into it. You're doing the Homer Simpson thing of like going back into that green screen.
Yeah, it's a bit cold at the moment. It's getting cold now. We're approaching winter. I am not doing like a Hobbit cosplay. I have like an Attack on Titan cloak, if people can see. I've got like a little pillow behind me to make sure my back's feeling a bit better. Because I've been working a shit ton over half term, and I will be glad to see the back end of the kids for a few weeks.
Yeah. You want to word that any better?
No, I don't want to see children for a while. Please leave me alone. I'm done with children. To clarify, every day I don't want to see children ever. I live my life as child free as possible, but half term you can't escape it.
You can't now. But like Lucas was working a lot to the point where he fell asleep on camera. So this time you got your coffee. I've got my coffee. We're recording a little bit earlier in the day.
Yeah, and did I fall asleep?
You look like you did. Yeah, you look like you were dead. I thought you died. So I was thinking in my head like that plays well for the audience at home.
I need to go back and do a time code to that one because I literally couldn't remember what had happened during the episode when I was editing it.
There was a part where you legit closed your eyes, but you closed them for like a good 10 seconds. It's like, it's the kind of sleep that causes people to crash cars. Like they're not asleep for long, but I legit think you must have fallen asleep for at least a few seconds. It's like, bodes well for my subject being interesting, right?
Yeah, I do apologise. We should be doing better today. I've had a good rest, but like I have legitimately worked close to 90 hours just in the restaurant over the past 10 days and then had to do all YouTube stuff on the side of that as well.
Yes.
So half term has been an absolute bitch.
Lucas has been like, you've been working very, very hard, both in front of the camera and behind of it, yes. But
yeah,
we just before we move on to like the meat of today's video, because this is the bread that goes around the meat. The meat is the wikis. This metaphor makes sense. Is it's giving some like shout outs to the people who supported us, watching our content. Like, so just sitting through us falling asleep. I feel like if we get to a point where people watch us while we're falling asleep, we've got an audience who appreciates us for us.
No, yeah, it's much appreciated. Yeah, it really is.
And yeah, hopefully people just enjoyed the content last week. It's been good though, because like the times where you fall asleep is always like it's my wiki last.
No,
so we
have
to cut my wiki short. Like we did a wiki on like, we're going through urban legends. Like you were tired for that one.
I feel
like a
really
freeze.
bad.
We had to cut that conversation
because like
short.
One time I was coming off COVID, and one time I was coming off like a
90-hour week.
Shit show of a week. Yeah,
but
where I was doing like night shifts into morning shifts. Yeah.
You had that like that wombo combo of a night shift into a morning shift.
Yeah.
Lucas's like sleep schedule just saw it and got absolutely annihilated.
Well, last thing is like
a Power Ranger style beatdown from night shift and morning shift on Lucas's sleep schedule.
I hope that some people in the comments can appreciate where I'm coming from and just maybe like let me know if you experience the same thing, because I want to feel slightly validated about the way that I sleep, because if I know that I have to wake up early, that makes sleeping more difficult.
Okay.
I will sit there and think about needing to sleep, which makes me anxious about sleeping, which makes me not sleep. So then I just look at my phone and watch the hours of my alarm get lower and lower and lower before I need to wake up again. And I'm riddled with just like, I need to wake up sooner than I need to wake up an hour ago, and that makes me more stressed.
So it's like the sleep equivalent of like, say for example, I've got a meeting, or I've got to go to like the dentist at 4:00, so I should probably start getting ready at 3. which means I've got to be in my house at 2, which means I should eat my lunch at 1 by the latest, which means I should get all my errands done by 12, which means I need to be like awake and fresh and by that point you've lost your entire day, even though technically you don't need to do anything until 4 o'clock.
Yeah, and it's just like, oh shit, I need to wake up for 9 o'clock in the morning. That means I've just finished my shift and I've got 8 hours left to sleep. That means I'm now going to spend half of that worried about the fact that I need to get to sleep as soon as possible.
Nice. I can't empathise with that. I generally operate on very little sleep. It's I don't know what the issue is. I'm self-employed. I have been for like a decade now. I can sleep for as long as I realistically need to because I set my own hours, and I never sleep for more than 5 to 6 hours.
Right.
So if I go to sleep at like 12, like a reasonable time for most people, I'll wake up at 5 in the morning.
Fair.
If I go to sleep, because I tend to go to sleep like 2 or 3 in the morning, so I'll wake up at 9, get up, get my coffee, and then I'm probably starting the day most people do.
Yeah.
But what I mean by that is like when I physically start work. I know a lot of people like travel to and from work.
Yeah, normally I don't have a long commute, but normally like I'm up around
my
like
commute
12-ish.
is 14 steps.
Yeah. But I normally try to wake up around midday. But when I've got like a 9 o'clock shift, which means I have to get up at 7 o'clock to then get a shower and then commute, I'm like, okay, that means that then I am just in like panicking Skywalker mode because I normally go to bed at 4, maybe-ish, to try and get like an 8-hour sleep for 12, waking up. And then it's like, oh no, you're now trying to get to bed at like before midnight to get up for 7. And it just obviously throws off my sleep schedule, especially when I've been working night shifts beforehand. So
that's
again,
the problem, like it's the night shifts that throw that off because
a
lot of that is just, you could just go to sleep earlier. Well, if you've like coming off a night shift and you've slept till like 1 in the afternoon after doing a night shift, it's really difficult to force yourself to go to sleep to get up for that early morning shift. I get it.
Yeah, like
I've worked shifts like that where I've done night shifts followed by like, okay, now I've got to go do a restocking shift or be at uni.
One of the literal like shifts before I went from like a 3 a.m. finish to like an 11 o'clock finish into a 9 a.m. start. And it's like, I just don't know how I'm meant to...
It's tough.
...mentally deal with that and then stay awake for a podcast afterwards.
Hopefully we make the podcast interesting. That's what we always try and do here on the podcast. And we know it's interesting because we do have our PPs. They are Patreon producers that you can see floating around on top of the screen. They're people who like it so much they want their name to appear against it.
Yeah.
And you fell asleep, which must look great. Like, it looks like they're sponsoring your nap.
If I just like put this hood up right now, I wonder whether I'll fall asleep again.
Don't do it. You're wearing too comfy clothes.
I can't find the hood anyway.
This is why I don't like. Even like people have heard I work from home. I'm one of the. I refuse to wear comfy clothes when I'm at home. I absolutely hate the idea of when you work from home wearing sweats or your pajamas, and a lot of that for me comes from when I was like a writer full time. I absolutely detested the people who were performative as writers, and they do the stuff like take a picture of like, oh, here's my setup for today, here's my laptop, here's my coffee, here's my cat sat next to me, or like even worse, like here's a glass of whiskey. It's like, no, it's a fucking job. Treat it like a job.
Yeah.
So I've always treated that. For me, helps me legitimize it in my head of like, I sit down and I do like my 8 to 9 hours of writing / research / editing.
I'm not going to lie, the reason why I'm wearing this, for people watching this and, don't rat out on me, but for the people who only watch the first 20 seconds, I just want them to say, oh, hey, Lucas is wearing the exact same outfit for like 3 videos in a row. So yeah, I just thought I'd put this on to keep me warm instead of the jacket I was wearing.
Okay, keep yourself toasty, but it is appreciated, as are our Patreon producers, our big PPs.
Yeah, no, they are keeping the lights on, the literal lights on in front of me. And
yeah, and we can't give a shout out to our pet of the weeks. I'm looking in Lucas's eyes. He forgot to do that.
No, I didn't, because I remembered to do it while we were doing the intro.
Okay, so who's our pet of the week?
Our pet of the week is Nip, who is back at it again, doing his best the dog impression. So
right, tell us about pet of the week, and we all. Oh my god, yeah, that's a great choice. That is an angle you need for a photo of a dog writer.
Yeah. So I'm presuming that maybe they look like, from that angle at least, like they might be a sausage dog with the big snout and the big old eyes and the little legs, but I may be wrong. But Nip is back at it again, so appreciated for Pet of the Week.
Yeah, and if you'd like to submit a Pet of the Week, you can join our Patreon at a tier, submit pictures in our Discord, or go vote on the submissions in our Discord. Like, that's a solid one. That is a boopable snoot, to borrow the modern parlance.
Yeah, it's a big snoot wearing a little hoodie, and I appreciate it either way, whatever the dog race is.
So, are you a snoot booper, or are you do you do anything else? Because
am I a snoot booper? I've got 2 sausage dogs. Yes, of course I am.
Snoot?
You boop the snoot.
Okay, because I've never been that. What I did with my old dog Penny, I'd always do I don't know why I did this. It's really funny. I'd put my hand into like a circle and like right in the middle of her head, go.
Oh, the one that they.
I don't know why I did it, but she'd always like completely flip out and be like.
I don't know if it's like dogs in general or just little dogs, but both my sister's Chihuahua, my sausage dogs, and other sausage dogs I met, if you blow at their face, just blow air at the face. Well, no, they'll like try and like give you kisses. They'll try and like lick your face. It's just funny to see them go like immediately like, oh yeah, okay, we're doing it. And I don't know what it is about at least little dogs, but just you blow air into their face and they're like, yeah, let's go.
Okay, so that's like my old dog Penny. It's like that, or rub my hands together till they get warm. Put one like little jowls.
Oh, right, okay. I do like the
put them on when I have a cup of tea, hold it around my cup of tea, and then put my warm cup of tea, like warmed hands on her head. She always like that.
I always like the on the little.
Oh yeah, when you put the perfect circle around their nose and just go.
Like, oh, what's going on here?
It's one of like the greatest Andrew WK tweets. Like, do you remember when he had like party tips? Remember this?
Honestly, I know almost nothing about Andrew WK apart from is it Party Hard, that song?
He could be a subject for a future Wiki Weekends episode or Wiki Weekdays episode of this podcast you're listening to, because he's a fascinating individual where that party persona is supposedly something he developed in college. And there's like all these like interviews with people who knew him in college of like, yeah, he talked in college about wanting to create a persona so pervasive that his self disappeared. And he, for years, had like this recurring streak of like party tips on Twitter. And one of them was just like, that always sticks in my head is, if you see a dog at a party, be sure to rub its ear and enjoy its velvety goodness.
Like, that's the thing is, it's not even that I aspire to be. I am the person that, if a dog is at a party, I am the person in the corner with the dog.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I generally try to push myself to be more extroverted than I am. But if there's a dog there, I'm going to be the person in the other room with the dog.
Yeah. I was at like the pub the other day and a guy had like a greyhound. Like so long, but so thin.
That's a greyhound, yeah.
I just turned to my friend and went, fucking hell, like that dog's 2D. And I just lost their shit because I've never heard someone describe a greyhound as 2D. I went, look how 2D that dog is.
They're not far off. They are.
He's not far off being 2D.
Long and slender, but like, God, I love like Whippets and Greyhounds because they are just they match my anxiety levels of maximum.
They look like you asked like a 4-year-old to draw a dog and they just drew it wrong. And then it's a real animal.
It's like, yes, they are great race dogs if you like dog racing. I don't like particularly dog racing or horse racing or anything, but yeah, if you like that shit, yeah, they're great race dogs, but they live their life like they are in just panic attack mode at all times.
They're apparently very good house dogs. I've got a few friends who've fostered retired greyhounds and racing dogs, and because they're designed for short bursts of speed, they're very easy to look after because you take them for like 1 half-mile walk and they'll just lie down.
Yeah, it's similar to sausage dogs of like, they'll enjoy a good, at least miniatures, enjoy a good, quick, like, hour walk, sprint, throw them like balls and stuff across the field. But after that, it's like, cool, we're done for the day. Whereas, like, obviously, you get a work
legs
dog.
like this big, right?
Yeah.
They got little legs.
But, like, you get a work dog, like a border collie, huskies, stuff like that. Obviously, they need to be exercised for hours and hours every day.
Yeah, like huskies can run like a marathon a day.
That's what they're built for at this point,
indeed.
right? Like, it's what they've been bred to do. So, like, the people that are like, oh yeah, I took my husky for a half-hour walk today. It's like, okay, so where's the other 5 hours coming from?
Yeah. Hopefully you've either got a treadmill in your house or you've got, like, just the Tower of Babel to go up your fucking flight of stairs.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got the Mario stairs in your house that take you, like 40 minutes to walk up.
Anyway, Karl, we should probably get onto your wiki, but I will mention that, we obviously have a Patreon that you can support down in the links below. But Karl, what have you brought for your wiki this week?
I thought I'd bring a wiki that's more a concept. So it's not a particular subject or specific thing, but it's a concept that's widely used in a lot of media we likely consume.
So there is a wiki page for this, right?
There is a wiki page on it, yes. And it's the wiki page on floating timeline, also known as a sliding scale. And I thought this would be a fun way to discuss the various things that I mentioned. Plus, for those people out there, maybe that it's not a concept they're familiar with, or at least not the definition. So we can teach people something as well.
Maybe I'm learning today, because I think I'm familiar with the term, but maybe
not its specific definition, which the beauty of Wiki Weekends is that the wiki is right there to give us that nice, broad, easy to understand, written for a layman explanation. So, a floating timeline, also known as a sliding timescale, is a device used in fiction, particularly in long-running comics and animation, to explain why characters age little or not at all, while the setting around them remains contemporary to the real world. Right. So this is why, for example, the Simpsons have never aged, yet the world in which they live has always reflected the time in which the show is made.
Yeah, it's gone from, early 90s to modern day. And
yes.
They stay the same age, as you say.
Yes, Homer and Marge. It's really weird because it's been pointed out to me, like, the Simpsons have been running for so long that Homer and Marge, they would have met. And the pop culture Homer talks about in like early seasons that he'd listen to and watch, like the TV shows, like he talks like Leave It to Beaver and stuff. He should be referencing The Simpsons. So
yeah, because they went from like 70s to 80s to 90s when they met, right?
Yeah. So Homer and Marge grew up in an era they defined, which is must be really difficult for the writers to acknowledge when they're trying to like write episodes set in the past that they're written in the modern day. So to be set in the past of Homer and Marge needs to be around the 90s now.
Yeah, nowadays when they actually met, it probably would have been during a period of like Simpsons mania kind of period.
It's like they met in the current timeline in an era the Simpsons as a concept defined. It's interesting.
Yeah. No, it's really weird. Yeah, and interesting because how do you write about? And obviously, the Simpsons don't exist within the Simpsons universe.
No,
in terms
but it's
of
interesting that the 90s do.
Yeah, the 90s now do, and they haven't stayed static, as in they haven't like stayed within the 90s because it wouldn't be interesting to make new stories about technology from the 90s and things like that, and pop culture moments from the 90s in a world where they're putting out episodes in like 2025, right?
Yeah. I'd argue they probably should have stopped making episodes like 20 years ago,
but arguably, but capitalism is capitalism, and the wheel needs to keep moving. But it will be interesting to at least see what the movie decides to do.
They're making another Simpsons movie out there.
Yeah, they're making
that has to be the last hurrah. That has to be just like, we're done.
You would hope.
You'd hope. Like, there's now been so much Simpsons that there's more bad than good. And just the longer it goes on, the legacy will never, ever be completely tarnished. But it really doesn't help that 10-year run, that like the golden age that's referred to, just has this underneath it is just like 20 straight years of just bad.
Not straight years, obviously, because
there's a few highlights.
There was the Simpsons movie. People generally agree that like after a certain point, it's had a bit of an upturn, but it's still nowhere near the heights that it used to be. And people just don't really talk about Simpsons in the way that they used to, because obviously we don't have as much of like a monoculture as we used to.
But one of the more interesting things is that a lot of the newer writers for The Simpsons would have been influenced by The Simpsons. So there's been talk of like some of the newer episodes, some of them almost recapture the magic of the early 90s and the late 90s. And the explanation is that, well, the writers who they've got in who are younger are influenced by the culture of their time, which was peak Simpsons.
Literally, they are the children that were watching The Simpsons as kids and are fans of The Simpsons. And grew up on that writing, yeah. And
it's sort of resulted in, like, if not a resurgence, like, at least, like, you know, there's still some life in that corpse. It's not like, oh, no, there's still some juice left in that lemon.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's why there's that weird middle period of, like, people that maybe weren't grown up on The Simpsons, but were trying to emulate. They were aware of it, and they were trying to emulate what the writers did before them on the first 10 seasons or so.
Yeah, and then there was another couple of years of really bad stuff where it's now the writers are so far removed from like being counterculture, because The Simpsons is culture now, and the writers were so successful that they no longer had that like rebellious underdog streak that a lot of early Simpsons like had of they were rebelling against like the established format of like the idea of The Simpsons being a dysfunctional family. Was a direct contrast to stuff like all sitcoms having just the 2.4 children were all well behaved. Like you literally had the President of the United States, George Bush, calling out The Simpsons on national TV. That's how wild and just like counterculture it was seen.
Two good examples of that are like obviously a literal decade apart, like between the animated version of The Simpsons and then Malcolm in the Middle. Two really good examples of like the dysfunctional family sitcom being kind of like, as you say, the counterculture movement to the traditional like 70s, 80s, you know, that 70s show and Living with Family and stuff like, well, maybe not Living with Family, but like a lot of those sitcoms where the
Leave It to Beaver, Full House, that sort of thing.
Yeah, the functional family of the nuclear family.
And earlier than that, you had the Waltons and the Brady Bunch, which is what The Simpsons was a response to, whereas Malcolm in the Middle was like Full House and other crappy 90s sitcoms that I don't remember because they all sucked.
Yeah, exactly, right. And we're from the UK, we didn't see a bunch of those during our childhood and stuff, but reflectively, they're not great. And yeah, I think it's one of those weird things where I say like they were counterculture, but now that's just what culture is because of The Simpsons.
So there was a period of like The Simpsons where they really tried like, oh, we're going to lampoon modern stuff, but it came across as so out of touch. Like they had like an episode where like Mr. Burns goes to a university and they have like the university students. And it's like the university students are calling out Mr. Burns for being like outdated. But Mr. Burns is framed as being in the right. And it's like, and you can see the shift from the writers of, in the 90s, you made an episode about Mr. Burns being the villain because he's the capitalist owner of a factory. And you had an entire episode about how unions are great. You fast forward like 15, 20 years, those like same producers have now got a lot more money, a lot more capital. Mr. Burns is now the hero, and it's the underdog students who are calling him out, who are framed as the bad guys, at least in a narrative sense.
Yeah, and I've seen like a commentary from a video. I can't remember what the video was now, but I've seen it mentioned in a couple of places of like the way that celebrities are utilized on the show.
Yes.
I was like, oh hey, back in the day, it used to be like maybe you'd get like was it like an Alec Baldwin that like Homer ruined their life or something like that, and they would just be like a person within the show
or a character.
They might just be a fictional character.
I forget who it was, but it's Dustin Hoffman, I think, maybe.
Yeah, they might appear as a fictional character, not even themselves.
Or a fictionalized version of themselves that would be made fun of. I just said that you had the Alec Baldwin episode where it's, hey, it's Kim Basinger. It's like Basinger. Because her name was constantly mispronounced. Like Ron Howard turns up.
And it would be utilizing them for comedy, whereas nowadays it's kind of like utilizing them just for the celebrity cameo of like, hey, Lady Gaga's here. And it's just Lady Gaga doing a show.
Episode of The Simpsons, yeah.
Yeah, that's why I bring up the Lady Gaga one, because people rack on that one a lot. And
the reason it's so bad is because the message is, Lisa is feeling self-conscious. She's a little girl. In the context of a show, like she's as a character who exists for 25 years, but in the context of a show, little girl, self-conscious
she's still, like,
about her body.
8 years old or whatever, yeah.
Yeah. That's a good storyline. I know it's a good storyline because The Simpsons already did it 10 years earlier.
Mm-hmm.
They did the exact same plotline 10 years earlier, and Lisa didn't need Lady Gaga to come in and tell her to love herself. And that episode where Lisa's struggling with her body image is one of my favourite just line reads from Lisa Simpson as a character. It's like, I know it's anti-feminist, because you have her like dealing with the struggle of her trying to be feminist, but also wanting to be pretty. It's like, I know it's anti-feminist, and I know it's not good for me, but that's what a fat girl would say. And just seeing her deal with that, and it's like, that was a really some well-crafted jokes in there, and they rehashed it so Lady Gaga could be the one who teaches Lisa self-reliance. Like, but she already has a character had that.
And
also, when you're recycling storylines, do you not feel like maybe you've not got many more stories to tell with these characters?
Yeah. But like, you compare that to, for example, of like, it's not the exact same allegory, but the definitely not Michael Jackson episode.
Yes.
Where you have Lisa just struggling with her identity, right? Mm-hmm. And then not MJ comes along and is like, hey, Lisa, like, you should embrace who you are. And obviously, yeah, it's not just Michael Jackson appears as Michael Jackson. It's just a guy that helps teach Lisa a lesson about who she should be as a person and try and embrace herself. And it doesn't have to be, holy shit, it's Michael Jackson just doing a Michael Jackson performance.
Yeah. And yeah, there's just a lot of like really bad humor in later episodes because they've lost that edge, because they're no longer responding to culture, they are culture.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, we'll get back to the definition of a sliding timescale. So when certain stories in comics, and especially origin stories, are rewritten, they often retain key events which are updated to a contemporary time. Floating timelines are used as a plot device to, and I quote, explain or explain away inconsistencies in the way that events and characters exist within a world. So, common example from comics is, hey, Magneto, his backstory, after it wasn't initially, but it now is, after, I believe, Chris Claremont rewrote his backstory to be directly linked to World War II. Yeah. The longer and more far removed we get from World War II, the harder and harder it gets for comic writers to keep that element of Magneto's backstory. So they have to come up with like contrivances within the story to explain why Magneto is still rocking around despite being in excess of 100 years old.
That's the thing, right? Is like, even if you're linking him to World War II, what you've got to make him a minimum of like
100 at this point.
85-ish years? A minimum. Like, that's if he's like a couple of years old.
Yep.
And yeah, it's rough, right? Of like, you're dealing with a concept of a very good, very strong origin story from over 80 years ago at this point. How do we still make him a menacing villain that makes sense of him not being 80 plus years old?
Yes, or a character like Spider-Man, where Spider-Man is generally depicted as a young man, either a teenager or someone in their early 20s, swinging around New York, dealing with stuff that teenagers and young men deal with. He's been a character for 50 plus years.
Yeah, and even when they encroach a little bit on that, of... say, for example, I can't remember the actual storyline name.
A Brand New Day.
You know exactly what I'm going to refer to, where they age him up a little bit. He's got a successful relationship with MJ.
And they retconned it.
They decide to retcon it because Peter Parker can't be happy.
Yep. He doesn't make for interesting stories.
Yeah. And it's one of those of like, I admit that it doesn't work for the character, but the idea of finally giving Peter Parker a happy ending and then ripping it straight out of him.
No, he doesn't. No, he sells the concept of his marriage to Mephisto to save Ant-Man.
That's what I mean, though. They are, in terms of plotline, they are ripping the happy ending away from Peter Parker, right?
And the world in which Spider-Man and all of his super buddies exist will always be roughly the time in which those stories are written. Mm-hmm. And you just again, as the name sliding timescale suggests, you just move their story forward. But with some characters, that's fine. Spider-Man, there's no particular part of his backstory is linked to a specific point in time. Other characters, it becomes a bit more difficult. Another example is the Punisher, where initially he was a veteran of the Vietnam War. As you keep that sliding timescale moving forward, well, okay, the Punisher's going to be 50, 60 years old. Also, maybe the Vietnam War, maybe that's not the best thing to reference. Let's say it's Desert Storm. Oh, shit. Oh, that's probably a bit...
It's quite hard to find a war to make Frank an actual hero in retrospect, right?
But also as well, like, do we really want to have like storylines if we flash back to his past of him in like real world places? So instead, they made up their own war.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the Sino War or something like that. It's like they made up a country that's just like it's made up-istan, and it can be just any Asian country they want it to stand in for. Frank fought in that war, and the date that war took place is no longer a fixed point in time. It's not like World War II, where we know it happened in our world at this particular point. So in Marvel's universe, which is roughly our own with superheroes, it has to occur at the same time. That made-up war can occur any time. They can always just push that forward a little bit to keep Frank Castle always around 30 to 40 years old.
So I can't remember, in the Netflix version, and now the Disney Plus version, did they make him a veteran of Afghanistan?
They just say that he fought in a war. They never say the exact region he went to. I think they might say Kandahar.
Okay,
or something like that. They might name drop one place. They keep it kind of loose, and they just say he went to Made-Up-istan, which is
because, like, obviously, yes, there may be some people watching that are like, well, what's the problem with that? But generally, it's agreed upon that maybe invading places like Vietnam and Afghanistan were not the correct decision. Maybe, I say maybe very loosely. Yeah.
There's also the aspect of it's a comic book where the Punisher interacts with a man with spider powers. Is that the best place to have, for example, a commentary on a real war where real people died?
Or we could just do a Call of Duty and flip who the villains were.
Yeah. I think it must be tough because I wrote a script about, not this concept exactly, but it talks about it briefly. And one of the examples I use is 9/11, where one of the most white today mocked Marvel comic lines is one where Spider-Man is swinging to Ground Zero following the wake of 9/11, and all of the collected villains of Marvel at Ground Zero, including Magneto and the Juggernaut, and they shed a tear of I can't believe that a man would do this to themselves. And at some point, someone pointed out hey, the Juggernaut, in a comic released 10 years ago, but in the Marvel Universe, that occurred about 6 months prior to this, knocked down the Twin Towers and laughed about it.
Yeah, that's a tough one to deal with, I will admit.
So Marvel kind of wore that back, maybe let's not reference real-world tragedies and just set our stories in a world that's similar to our own, but we can move around stuff that we need to.
It's like referencing horrible terrorist attacks in a fantastical world.
I'm just going to say it. Magneto
is hard to deal with.
Magneto wouldn't give a fuck.
I mean,
how many times did he try to kill everyone on Earth? Think he cares if the building falls over? It's as well like the Juggernaut. How many buildings has the Juggernaut knocked over as a plot device? Because that's the thing. In the Marvel Universe, knocking over a building can be a plot device. It'll be rebuilt the next issue.
And Magneto
when people
would
die,
care
right?
If the building was full of mutants, but Magneto primarily, at least in most iterations, basically just cares about mutants.
And here's the thing as well. Marvel probably don't want people having that conversation, so they walked that back. But getting back to the definition of a sliding timescale or floating timeline, according to Ros Kavanagh, and who are they now? They're a British writer, critic, and poet known for their critical works about pop culture. Oh, fair enough. A floating timeline is used in comics because of the, and I quote, commercial need to keep certain characters going forever. Which is fair. Like Wolverine, right? Wolverine's never going to fucking die because
I would be pissed off if Marvel just sidelined Spider-Man and went, hey,
he retired.
Spider-Man's 50 now. He can't be a superhero anymore. I would be pissed off because I like Spider-Man.
They did that in like a fast forward, like Spider-Man Reign. And that's, again, one of the worst reviewed Spider-Man storylines, where they fast forward to the future and Spider-Man is old, decrepit, his back's half broken because of all the villains he's fought, all his family's dead because he killed Mary Jane through his radioactive spider jizz.
Oh, Jesus
Real plot
Christ.
line. And he fights like a villain, and he's saved by the corpse of Dr. Octopus being still manipulated by the tentacles.
And I will say, obviously, there is one great example of how to do this, and that's Batman Beyond.
Yes.
Or
Passing
Batman of the
very,
Future.
very literal passing of, or very. It's as close as you're going to get to a literal passing of the torch. He gives him the Bat outfit.
Yeah, like, they just went, here's new Batman in a new future, and it worked.
I don't think it's been done better. I think Batman Beyond is like the gold standard for how to pass the torch to a new character.
Yeah, and we refer to it as Batman Beyond, even though we got it as Batman of the Future, but Batman Beyond is just a better name.
I prefer Batman of the Future because that's what I grew up with. Batman Beyond is more succinct, but Batman of the Future there's a charm to it. It's very comic book.
Batman Beyond is just, it's got the alliteration, it just sounds better. It runs off the
Batman of the Future just sounds so comic books, it's so stupid. I like it for that reason.
But yeah, I don't necessarily know why Batman retired, but none of his rogues did.
Well, Batman Beyond is really interesting.
They did give him some new rogues as well.
Yes, the reason that Batman in that universe retires is so... It works so well for the established character of Batman, even if it doesn't follow any direct canon. Like, it does link to the animated series a little bit, but you can read it as any version of Batman.
Yeah,
and the reason Batman decides to retire in Batman of the Future is that he's fighting a guy, just a random goon. How many random goons has Batman beaten up? Countless ones. But the goon gets the upper hand. Yeah. He gets the upper hand and hits Batman with a pole. And Batman's like on the back foot, and the villain is like, have I just knocked down Batman? And they go to finish him off, and Batman picks up a gun. And he threatens the criminal, and the criminal backs off. And Batman looks at the gun.
He realises that, like, I've gone too far.
Yeah, he looks at the gun and realises, if I have to rely on this, people don't know Batman hates guns.
Yeah.
If you're only familiar with the Zack Snyder version, where he uses a fucking grenade launcher, he hates guns. It's the thing that killed his parents. He looks at himself, and he's so disgusted that he had to rely on that, he retires. Because he's like, if I need to rely on this, I'm clearly not cut out to be Batman anymore.
The Batman.
And it works. It works so well.
Yeah, no, I was going to say the Zack Snyder Batman who uses, like giant miniguns in his Batmobile. And
he's not shooting those
guns. Just blowing up shit with people right next to them and definitely not killing them.
Yeah, but that's what an elegant solution for, like, why would Batman retire?
No,
he got old.
I did forget about that reasoning, and that is a good reasoning of, like, Batman got old enough to not be able to just rely on himself, and he doesn't want to use guns because
someone got the drop on him, and he can't deal with that. And it's a great, as a passing of the torch, because he finds a young protege, trains them, and he becomes the man in the chair, and he passes on his wisdom. And so the idea of Batman remains if the man himself doesn't.
Obviously, there's a lot of shenanigans. It turns out that is Bruce Wayne again. I don't like that twist.
I hate the twist that they overwrote Terry McGinnis's dad's DNA with Bruce Wayne badges they found on the ground.
Yeah.
So to make it that Terry McGinnis is literally biologically Batman's son,
Batman,
rather than it just being that he's his protege and Batman sees him as his son because he represents the same ideals that he does.
Literally embodying the idea of, the Nightwings of the world, of him taking on another protege, and instead of making him a Nightwing, he becomes Batman.
And you know that that's like a thing from Warner Bros, right? Of like, he can't be Batman unless he's physically Batman's literal child. It's like, but Terry McGinnis had a dad. His whole impetus for becoming the new Batman is that his dad was killed, and he wanted to avenge him. And
not fuck it, make him a Batman clone.
Yeah. Completely undo the fact that, like, Terry McGinnis had a loving father who was gunned down. And the same way like Bruce Wayne's parents were. Yeah.
Obviously, Karl mentions it could be any iteration of Batman. It is canonically the Justice League Batman.
It's Justice League
Unlimited Batman.
But I can see them adapting any version of Batman and having that same story.
If they didn't have that crossover, it could have been an iteration on any Batman.
Yes.
But I dislike that ending of
We'll have to talk about
the
it one day.
JLU
Yeah.
of just, it turns out it was a Batman clone and fuck it. Yeah.
Amanda Waller stole your jizz and injected it, and they overwrote the DNA of Terry McGinnis's dad.
Oh God, I hate that ending.
It's so stupid. Like, could it not just be a metaphorical thing?
I remember maybe a couple of years back, we discussed this on Wiki Weekends.
Okay.
Or maybe it was Fat Fiend. And I'd forgotten, probably manually erased it out of my brain.
Because it's stupid.
That was the ending. And
it's so stupid. I refuse to accept it as canon. Even though I know it is, I refuse to accept it as canon. That's not the ending. It completely undoes so much of Terry McGinnis's backstory, and also it completely ruins the relationship between Bruce Wayne and Terry. Because the whole point is that he sees him as his son. Bruce
Wayne and all of his other sidekicks up to that point. Like, it's not just delegitimizing Terry, it's delegitimizing, like, every single protege he has.
Yeah, well, Amanda Waller's like, the world needs a Batman. It's like, it has one, it has Terry. It has someone who's going to continue on his ideals and is personally trained by Bruce Wayne and will have and has the same commitment and strength of will that he did.
Yeah, and that's like the idea of saying, well, Nightwing is not important. Like, no, Nightwing, if anything, is probably a better Batman. By the end of it, by the time he is full legitimate Nightwing,
because he's not like
Batman,
as emotionally
but not
troubled,
traumatized, or slightly traumatized.
And then, like, presumably Nightwing's protege will be slightly less traumatized than that.
Then you get Damian Wayne.
Whatever. Anyway, that's one example of how to buck the trend of a sliding timescale and actually physically move a story forward in time and have a character age in a way that doesn't feel upsetting. Or it doesn't feel like dismissive of the character's legacy.
Yeah,
like,
and to clarify, we're both big fans of Batman Beyond until
absolutely, yeah.
That crossover, like, that's the part that ruins it, is that very last.
Yeah, I think it's an absolutely
ending.
Incredible way of, like, translating Batman's story. It's, I said, it's the gold standard for taking a character and passing the torch.
Yeah.
To a new character who's just, like, Terry McGinnis is Batman. He's not the Batman, but he is, in all but name, he is Batman. But continue now with the definition of a sliding timescale. Academic Kevin Wanner has compared superheroes in comics to mythological figures and writes that use of a sliding timescale in comics is similar to the way ageless figures in myth are depicted interacting with the contemporary world of the storyteller. Okay. Yeah, that's a bit more waxing philosophic than I'd like, but I can see the argument that comic book characters are effectively modern mythological heroes. Like, you fast forward 500 years, Superman's still going to exist as a concept. People will still be telling stories about Superman. Much in the same way we still tell stories about Hercules.
Obviously, it's a little bit different because these are, like, the excuses for the gods are that they are literal immortal beings, so it makes sense for them to exist at any point in time.
Well, these are gods we created.
They arguably.
Again, we're waxing a bit philosophic here, but I can see an academic who wanted to get a bit fruity with it, making that argument. And I want to get a bit spicy of like, ooh, let's argue that superheroes are modern mythological heroes. Like, I can see the argument. I wouldn't disagree, but I wouldn't want to make it because it seems a bit pretentious to myself.
Yeah, I don't want to make that argument on the behalf of, like, that seems a bit dismissive of all religion to say that all gods are just things that we made up. That's my own personal belief.
But it's also about mythological heroes, like, they're not necessarily gods, like Perseus.
True.
Just this mythological, like, heroic figure. Still talked about today. I can see it said fast forward a couple hundred years, we'll probably still be talking about Superman, Spider-Man.
Yeah, it's one thing that I mentioned recently in the video where we talked about the Kai arc, the filler arc in Dragon Ball, of, like, there being one guy in the afterlife, that most of the heroic tales of legend in human life were based upon. And there's just one guy that was really fucking good. And it's like, yeah, most of your legends come from this one really awesome dude.
Yeah.
I kind of enjoy that interpretation.
Like I said, you fast forward a couple of years, I think it's not a very good film, but it's a really good example of what I'm going to mention here, and it's Reign of Fire. Terrible movie. It's
Dragon movie?
It's the dragon movie where dragons are real. They emerge from the ground and burn Britain to ashes.
Yeah.
And they have a moment in the fast forward 20 years, and you have a group of survivors, and you have a group of adults acting out Star Wars. And they're acting out Star Wars in the same way people in our day would act out a Shakespeare play. And the idea of like Darth Vader is now this like cultural touchstone that has been forgotten. Like physically, there's no physical evidence of Darth Vader being a thing, but oral tradition is keeping that story alive. And
right, as if it were a tale. Yeah.
It's like parents are now telling the story of like Star Wars and acting it out the same way we'd act out a Shakespeare play or an ancient Greek tragedy.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see that, you fast forward like another 100 years after that, people might not even know the actual origins of Star Wars, but that story would still remain, and the figure of Darth Vader would still remain.
That's quite cool.
Terrible film, but I like that element of it.
I only know that film via Reputation, so I wasn't aware of that, but that's quite cool.
Yeah. It's an interesting idea. It's just, I can only ever think of that one specific example of what I'm talking about, so it serves as a great thing to point to. But we're moving on to examples, Lucas. And the first one is The Simpsons. We talked about Simpsons. Mentioned here that early episodes show the lives of Homer and Marge being set between both the 1970s as well as the 1990s, depending on when you're watching.
Yeah.
As the characters do not age, despite society and technology changing around them. Then we have here the Japanese anime series Pokemon, or Pokemons, or Pokemon. How do you pronounce it? Are you a Pokemons? Oh, you're a Pokemon. I like saying Pokemons, but I know if I say that too much, Nintendo's like, fuck you. Pokemons.
I'm questioning myself now. Pokemon.
Pokemon's the correct way, but I like saying Pokemon because it sounds fun.
And then you get like the kind of Americanized of like Pokemon.
Pokemon, because it's not the same as
Pokemon. Yeah. Pokemon is how to pronounce it. Yeah. Without, you've got me thinking too much about how I say words.
My mum refers to it as Pokemons.
Pocket monsters.
Yeah, she's like she calls it Pokemons. But yes, none of the characters have aged since the series began in the 1990s. Chief director Kunihiko pronounce the guy's name correctly. Kunihiko Yuyama has said that protagonist Ash Ketchum is eternally 10 years old, and that time has not passed since the beginning of his journey.
Dude got shit done.
He did.
When you actually add up the 25 years of how many tournaments he entered within less than a year of his life.
It's the joke people make, isn't it? It's like he is every employer's dream. He's like a 10-year-old with 25 years experience.
Yeah. Oh, God, like... Ash is great, and I like the fact that they were finally actually, sensible enough to give him an ending of like, the dude deserves an actual validation and an actual win. And after that point, he became the Pokemon Master. Let's start a new story. I love
story's
that.
Done.
I love the willingness to actually start the story again with a new
end
protagonist.
His story, yeah. So even though we're talking about a sliding time scale being often used to justify never allowing a character to age or change all that much, I like the idea of, after a certain point, you can just ignore that and then flash forward. Like Ash,
they don't even ignore it, right? It's like they give him his 10 years old Pokemon Master ending of just revisiting everywhere he's visited before.
Yeah, but after that, they can now continue on with another story. It doesn't. It's not anchored to that character.
Exactly. Like, they don't need to do a Simpsons and have it be forever revolving around the same main characters. It's like, hey, at some point we can just call it a day and start again.
Yep. It's why I think
that's way
King
more
of the
sensible.
Hill, masterfully done. Where they've just King of the Hill, the reboot. Phenomenal. They've barely missed a step in the 10 years they've been gone. And the 10 years gap between the last season of King of the Hill and the new season, they've explained, they've just said, Hank got hired to go work, I think it's Saudi Arabia, and he's been away from America for 10 years, and we're bringing him back in, and all the characters in that universe have aged 10 to 15 years.
Yeah,
and we're telling new stories with a newly aged Hank. And we get a new perspective on the things he's experiencing because he's now 10 years older.
All I've heard from King of the Hill fans, I'm not fan of that series. Like, I've just never really watched it. So I don't have much experience with it at all, apart from like watching a couple of episodes when that reboot came out with, you and a couple of friends. But like, yeah, I like the idea of doing that, and all I've heard from people is that it's executed very well.
It also sort of gives us like new opportunities for storytelling with these characters who we like, but there's only so much you can do before the storylines either start to get repetitive, outlandish, or just not interesting. And all I was thinking when I was watching the reboot is, I'd love it if The Simpsons did this. Yeah. I would love it if The Simpsons just said, okay, we're taking a hiatus, and we're going to age all the characters up 10 years.
Well, there's that one episode.
And just tell new stories.
There's that episode where, I mean, they've probably done it a couple of times at this point.
They've had, a few flash-forward episodes.
There is that flash-forward episode where, Lisa marries that British dude and stuff like that in one of the earlier seasons.
And the problem is because The Simpsons has been going on so long, there's been so many flash-forwards now, they're basically trapped. They can never fast-forward or age the characters up because it would contradict so much previously established lore.
Yeah, and obviously the one that I'm referring to, it was just a fortune teller, and at the end, Lisa's like, is that actually my future? And it obviously it leaves that little bit of ambiguity of I don't think that any of your fortune telling was actually correct.
Yeah, or Lisa becoming president in another flash forward episode, and even with the current timeline, they play fast and loose. Of Lisa's had 3 8th birthdays. They've celebrated 25 Christmases together.
Yeah, I think recently Bart had an 11th birthday. They'll probably refer back to Bart as 10 years old again.
Well, a point I've mentioned, I think we talked about it in a fact theme video, is that the writers clearly want to tell stories with an aged up Bart because the character has existed for 25 years. People see the character as being older than they're necessarily portrayed. And as a result, there's a bunch of really uncomfortable storylines involving Bart that are clearly written by writers who want an older version of the character. There's an example where he thinks he's gotten a 15-year-old girl pregnant. And it's just really uncomfortable to watch because I know it's a cartoon. You say it's a cartoon. Who gives a shit?
Well, that's a 10-year-old.
In the context of a story, it's a 10-year-old being matched up with a girl who's 15, 16 years old.
And just a 10-year-old being involved sexually in any way.
And that's not what happens. It's just Bart doesn't know what it takes mechanically to get someone pregnant.
Okay.
But clearly they wanted to tell a story that had that element to it. So why not age the character up? If you want to tell, you clearly want to tell these more adult storylines with these characters.
15, 16-year-old Bart, that would be a sensible episode to talk about teenage pregnancy, right? Yeah. And I think it's it'd be interesting to see as well, Lisa maybe become a teenage activist where maybe they fill up
I don't want to see that because I can't imagine the writers for The Simpsons are going to handle it all that well.
I can't, but I can see a Simpsons that is interesting with Lisa being a kind of young Greta Thunberg kind of character of trying to, because that's ultimately what Lisa stands for in the show is
voice of reason,
activism and progression. And that's the closest I can think of in terms of a young activist in real life.
They'll never do it though.
They wouldn't be able to write it well enough, I don't think. No.
There's too much money involved. It's The Simpsons can never age
because the point is that you'd have to be calling out things. You'd have to essentially become South Park, have become a show that is willing to call out anything and everything within a short time frame. And that is not ultimately what The Simpsons is about.
It takes too long to make an episode of The Simpsons for anything to ever feel relevant.
Yeah, whereas South Park is weekly relevant even to this day.
Yeah. There's a freshness to it, even though I don't particularly enjoy a lot of what they... It's really hard for Matt and Trey, the guy Matt Stone and Trey Parker, literal billionaires.
But billionaires that I do respect of take the money and within days of taking a billionaire payout, or maybe weeks, actually do a full dunk on the president of the USA that Paramount do not want airing, where it's they had the AI naked Donald Trump stumbling through desert or whatever. I was like, at very least, make your money and call that shit out.
Yeah, I can appreciate that aspect of it. There's a couple of like other takes they've had because
I don't agree with them on everything.
Like they're weirdly libertarian.
Yeah.
I don't know if they actively admit that they are, or they do that douchebag thing of saying like, "Oh, I just want to make fun of everybody," but they seemingly make more fun of like left-wing figures. Like they had the entire episode about Al Gore is scared of this mysterious like ever-present threat to the world called Man Bear Pig, and it's like a thinly veiled allegory for global warming. Or I think the one that really put a sour taste in my mouth is they have an episode about some guy who's trying to get smoking banned in bars, and they frame the guy trying to get smoking banned in bars as the bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
Is it?
Yeah.
Why is that your take on this? Of like someone advocating for public health is person you want to make fun of?
I'm not a big fan of South Park. I'm not particularly aligned with all of their views or anything. However, it is quite cathartic to see somebody take billions of pounds from a big company and immediately put shit out of that company.
The sheer lack of fucks given is commendable.
It really is, and that's the thing that I'll give them credit for. Is that I don't particularly agree with half the shit they say, because they do actually assault both sides relatively well. But
I'd argue their adherence to making fun of both sides gets less and less defensible when one side has like pseudo concentration camps being built.
Yeah,
and the other side's like, hey, maybe don't do that.
I think it is still worth shouting out the fact that it's quite refreshing to see someone people willing to like shout out and actually defame Donald Trump in this day and age when most big corporations seem to be terrified of the man.
Yeah. And you know what? Speaking of just speaking truth to power, there's a few examples that buck the trend of a sliding timescale, and my favourite one is the long-running character Judge Dredd, the British weekly anthology comic 2000 AD. Time passes in the Judge Dredd universe in real time. So when a year passes in real life, a year passes in the comic, and the same has been true since Judge Dredd's introduction.
So is Judge Dredd really old?
Yes. So he appeared in 1977, and he's aged in real time since 1977. And
presumably he must have already been, in his 30s maybe during the comic?
He has undergone rejuvenation, and they say the retirement age for a judge was 60. When he reached that age, they had a plot line that had him de-aged. He's still canonically, though, I think he's like 78 years old. And the writer, John Wagner, and artist Karl have talked about how they have somewhere deep within, the confines of 2000 AD, there is there's the end of Judge Dredd's storyline.
Oh, okay.
So Judge Dredd does have a planned end. It's just they've written ways to make him younger and keep him in active service because they know he's a popular character, but he does age in real time.
We mentioned kind of Magneto earlier and the retconned origin of them being a survivor of the Holocaust being very important to their character nowadays. And they obviously got around that by doing a similar thing, right?
Turned him into a baby and re-aged him.
The baby Magneto happened, and which made
Professor X seem an even bigger dick than he normally does, right? Like you're beefing with a Holocaust surviving baby.
but here's the guy that's trying to, in some runs, kill
he just wants
many
to go
people
to his big floating meteorite palace.
That's the thing, is sometimes Magneto is right. Sometimes Magneto wants to commit genocide. And it's sometimes Magneto just wants to be left alone, which is where I fully agree with Magneto. And it's the X-Men 97 that came out, right, where we talked about that, of he just shows off his power and goes, leave mutants alone, fuck off. And they go, oh, cool, we'll just nuke Genosha. And at that point, Magneto is right. But other comic book runs where he just wants to kill humanity.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily agree with that.
The beauty of a sliding time scale is that it allows you to change a character's motivations to suit the story. Mm-hmm. It's I talked about that in the video script I wrote about characters in Marvel and DC and stuff dying and coming back to life. It's death is not so much an issue for characters in comic books. It's more like a plot point.
Mm-hmm.
The same way like destroying a building can either be a huge issue that big forms the entire base of a story, or can be something that's not even addressed and fixed off panel by the next issue.
It's one of those things where I'm sure there's probably equivalents of nukes going off in Marvel, which
no more mutants
happened, and
the Scarlet Witch deleted all the mutants.
Yeah, that was obviously a big plot point, but I'm sure there's probably equivalents where it was kind of a passing point, and then you have stuff like Civil War, where essentially a person being a nuclear bomb created the entire Civil War plotline.
And as you think about it, it's like Nitro, I think it was, blew up a school, and he kills a couple of classrooms worth of kids, and that's like the start of Civil War. As mentioned, there was a comic in the 90s where the Juggernaut ran through the Twin Towers, and it was played off as not a joke, but it wasn't as big an issue, and it's not something people bring up.
It was laughed off a little bit.
It's not even just laughed off, it's just it's not brought up. Like, no one brought up that the Juggernaut knocked down the Twin Towers in an X-Force comic, because, hey, he knocks down buildings in every fucking panel that he's in.
Yeah, whereas, I say, like, Nitro blowing up a few buildings or whatever, I thought it was a bit of a bigger explosion, but... I
think it's a couple hundred people die, but, again, the Juggernaut 9/11'd his way through a building, and it never got brought up ever again.
Yeah.
It depends. Yeah. It's up to the writer how serious they want something like that to be. That's kind of... It's just... I wouldn't want to be in their shoes.
It's the pleasure and displeasure of living within a universe with as much elasticity as the Marvel universe, right?
It's like, okay, Spider-Man, like, is this a big deal or is it not?
Yeah, you're literally in the confines of, is something of a neighborhood threat important, or is something today of a galactic or universal threat important? And that's the sliding scale that you're on within Marvel. Of like, sometimes just somebody fucking up like Spider-Man's neighborhood can be important.
Yeah, it's like I said,
other times you're worrying about the entire universe.
It's why that like arc of like the heroes of Marvel responding to 9/11 is widely considered to be one of the most cringy thing Marvel's ever done, because all you need to do is look at every villain that's there, and like they've caused bigger acts of mass destruction and terrorism and losses of life.
Fantastic Four deal with Galactus on a fucking monthly basis.
Like Marvel probably shouldn't open the can of worms of two buildings being knocked over. Is like something that the entire world needs to stop to mourn. When I mentioned, it's like
our world, yes, in our world, we're not trying to
in their world though.
That.
The Juggernaut did that 2 years ago, and the Juggernaut is stood there at ground zero with a tear in his eyes, wondering how someone could possibly... It's like, you did it. You did this. And he laughs in the comic where he does it.
We're not trying to say that it obviously wasn't a horrible terrorist incident. It's just, in that universe, you've got Galactus eating planets, and Fantastic Four have to deal with that all of the time.
Or you have some of the villains, like, destroying buildings, threatening to blow up planets, threatening, like, the extinction of the entire human race. And they're suddenly put off by this. Like, you just don't want to open that kind of worms.
Multiversal threats.
Yeah.
Like, there's literally the whole, like, probably we'll see the interpretation soon of Secret Wars, of, like, it is a culmination of every single universe being mashed together into one for survival.
Yes, it's just not something they probably want to deal with, because maybe they've got writers skilled enough to deal with it, but are the readers emotionally mature enough to respond to it?
And also, does it make sense in that universe?
Also, is it necessary? Is it really necessary to have Magneto as a character? Like, is that the best avenue for it as well?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not. But either way, it's like floating timeline or sliding time scale.
Mm-hmm.
So it'd be interesting to talk about. And Lucas, what have you brought forward for discussion?
I brought forward a toilet break, if that's okay.
Let's go for it. So we're back from our break, mon frere, and do you have any housekeeping for this week?
I think coming off a very long week of work, I would just, again, reiterate to people, please check out the Patreon down below. If I am in work less, we would be able to make more exclusive content for the Patreon. So if you could support us over there, it would be much appreciated. Obviously, if you don't have any money to give us and help support us, or if you just don't want to, that's absolutely fine. Just watching the content is great.
It's always an option that I appreciate. We put like, if you just don't want to, it's a valid response.
It's valid.
I don't want to is a valid response to most things.
Yeah. And if you don't want to, or don't have the money, or whatever the reason is, if you want to share this to a friend, that'd be great. I'll say the less time I've got to spend in other work, the more time I've got to contribute to Wiki Weekends and make more content. So, same with Karl, obviously. And
that's the I've already got my full time. I still do script writing and stuff in the background, and I get residuals from Fact Free and all that good stuff. So, my full time job is still script writer. I've been doing that for years anyway. So, but it's a job that I'm like comfortable doing because it's just been, it's I always see it as like a career, even though I guess it is.
No, yeah, it is. But obviously, both of us would like to contribute more, and we've got plenty of ideas to expand the Wiki Weekends universe, as it may be.
The Wiki Weekdays, yes.
We just,
I can't wait to
need time to contribute to it at some point.
We need to figure out how to create a third day so we can like bring a third person in for Wiki 3Kens.
Oh God. No, but yes, other than that, I don't have much to mention at the moment. I've been very busy at the moment.
You've been a very busy boy, yes, and hopefully you had time to find a wiki.
I did have time to find a wiki because I had maybe like an hour or so to relax the other day, and I turned around to like essentially a comfort game. I was like, maybe we could talk about this. I know we've just escaped spooky season, but I'd like to talk about not a spooky game, but maybe like a spooky themed game.
Cheers.
Which is Left 4 Dead.
Left 4 Dead, man. It never went away. Like speaking of like the Simpsons, and like they can just sunset. Is that the word they use? Like for games, like you can sunset it.
Yeah.
Left 4 Dead. It never died. Ironically enough, all the zombies that are in there. Yeah. It never like came back from the dead. It's just it was there. It was great. People liked it. People still enjoy it to an extent.
Yeah.
But people largely agree. It was good, and then it was done.
And then,
are we even going to mention? Is it even worth talking about? Save for.
I can't remember what it was even called.
You don't even remember its name. Is it Back 4 Blood?
Yeah, Back 4 Blood. I was thinking it was called.
The spiritual successor.
Which, admittedly, a lot of people from the original studio did go and make. But
do you ever see as well? It wasn't. I remember seeing a breakdown of this, of like they pitched it as like a bunch of people who worked in the original Left 4 Dead. Someone broke down of like there's like 8 people from the original Left 4 Dead.
Yeah, I think that's where it started. Is like the studio started with a few people from the Left 4 Dead team spinning off. They did milk that of like from the people that brought you Left 4 Dead. From a few people that brought you Left 4 Dead.
Also, just there's really great breakdowns of like just how badly it can be seen as a spiritual successor, because Left 4 Dead and Left 4 Dead 2 are still absolutely fucking phenomenal games.
Mm-hmm.
And as I said, like that Back 4 Blood isn't as good from any standpoint of mechanically it's worse, gameplay it's worse, writing wise it's worse,
and
it looks worse.
Karl and I presume Karl as well as myself, we're coming from the perspective of console players of Left 4 Dead.
Yes.
Not PC players who have gotten a bunch of, community support and updates for many, many years. We're talking about, like, our experience of playing on the consoles where they got a few DLCs.
Yeah, we got a disc and we had that game on there, and even though we didn't have all, as you said, the support that the PC players got, it was still a fucking phenomenal game. Yeah. And I felt like I got a complete experience for the money I spent.
And I played that for years, and, like...
No, it's not a game we played a lot, but sometimes like when I was around at your house, we'd play it sometimes like round at your house, right? We'd take it in turns, but sometimes we'd most play Smash Bros.
We mostly just end up playing Smash Bros until I get aggy enough to go, let's play some Mario Party every now and then.
Yeah, but I do appreciate and have always respected the amount of work that went to Left 4 Dead.
And even though Left 4 Dead 2 was very much Left 4 Dead 1.5, I do agree with that kind of sum up of the game at the time of release. It just fixed almost everything. It was just fixing Left 4 Dead.
Yeah, but they fixed so much that I feel they were entirely justified in releasing it as a new game.
Yeah, nowadays I think it probably would have been a paid update or something.
Or DLC.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, it probably would have ended up being a bit different nowadays, but the time of like 2008 when Left 4 Dead came out, I think Left 4 Dead 2 came out a couple of years later, and I don't really see that being an option in 2008 to like, hey, everybody have like the kind of infrastructure to
it's what gaming was.
Update your game.
You go back to the 90s. Like Street Fighter, we've released a new version with new characters in it. You're going to release... No, fuck no, it's a new game. Street Fighter plus Alpha. Fuck it.
It wasn't really how it's done at the time.
No.
And
it was the style at the time.
It was. It was the style at the time. And like, I should say, how many versions of Street Fighter 2 did we get? Like 4 or 5?
Couple, yeah.
Yeah.
A number, yeah. So what was it like? What was it that made you go back? Out of curiosity.
I actually don't know. I was just sitting there and I was like editing the Halo video that we recently put out, the John Halo video. Shooters. And we talked about first-person shooters, and I went and played a bit of Halo. And then I was sitting there playing Halo and went, actually, I want to play some Left 4 Dead. I don't know what triggered it in my brain. I was just like, maybe it was the fact that I was playing online on Halo, and everyone was absolutely destroying me. I'm like, I want to just shoot some AI. I want to shoot some zombies.
It's like every now and again, I want to play, like, I get the urge, and I can't scratch the itch to play Horde mode in Gears of War 3. It's like, man, Horde mode in Gears of War 3 was super fun.
Hit me up.
I ain't got Gears of War 3 anymore. I ain't got Xbox Live.
Get it? Get on your Xbox One. Because I played Horde mode with some randoms about 2 weeks ago, Karl.
Okay. Do you know what we need? This is why we need the Patreon. Because if we get the Patreon, we can start to travel to visit each other to record content. And we could... Hey, do you want me and Lucas to play Horde mode? Help us.
Help us. Because I literally...
Either that or vote for whatever party in the UK is going to fucking nationalise the railway so we don't have to pay 80 quid to go visit each other. Either
Hashtag vote green. But yeah, the other day before my Game Pass expired / I cancelled it because they put up the prices before it went out of date.
50 quid.
Did I not? I'm just gonna buy Clay Obscura instead. Yeah, I am now because that's the only Game Pass game I'm playing right now. But yeah, I did boot up Gears of War 3. And go online and find like 3 other people playing Horde mode. And yeah, that was 2 weeks ago maybe. So
you had a lot of fun.
I did have fun. And if you want to hit me up and go, let's do some Horde.
It'd be interesting, like, folks at home, is there a game like that for yourselves? Because I've got a couple of like old school games that just like stay pretty much just in constant rotation in the background.
Yeah,
like Hades is one that's just like constantly. It's never going to get uninstalled from my Switch.
Yeah, like every now and then I just turn around and go, let's put another 100 hours into Binding of Isaac. And I'll just have like a few weeks just being obsessed with that again.
Yeah, it's like RE4 Remake. I know it's not an old game by any stretch of the imagination, but I don't think I've ever uninstalled that because of how much I just enjoy playing Mercenaries mode. Do you want to, like, I get the itch to play Mercenaries. I'm like, let's go play some Mercenaries. It's so fun.
No, that is another one where I was like, I've got about half an hour to relax and ended up playing some RE4 Mercenaries the other night. Again, like, just between that mode of I'm out of work, I'm back home, I've had a shower, and I need to just try and turn my brain off and relax before I go to sleep. A bit of it was just like a couple of nights of RE4 Mercenaries. Why not?
And before that, it'd be like RE5 Mercenaries, which is a much older game. And then like PS2 wise, I've got my PS2 still. It's still set up. And just in that PS2 is a copy of Burnout. And something I had a lot of fun doing a couple of weeks ago. A friend of mine came over and we were both doing like Stoptober. So we weren't drinking. So like, it's coming to my like, do you want to just come play some Burnout? It's like, I'd fucking love to play some Burnout. So we brought like 2 big bags of Doritos and some like cans of pop. And we sat and we just like passing the controller back and forth playing Burnout.
I'm still telling you, Karl, like we mentioned it on the John Halo video of just, we need to get together and just get a bunch of Mountain Dew and Doritos and just absolutely slay some Halo.
Absolutely do it. Stream that shit.
It's the weird thing, right, of some of my greatest memories come from the 360, but at this point, I am so willing to let Xbox die.
Yep. Those memories.
Like, again,
the memories are
Left 4 Dead. Talking about Left 4 Dead. Like, I went to play Left 4 Dead on my console. I play now on Xbox Series S, which doesn't have a disc drive. I have Left 4 Dead 2 and Left 4 Dead 1 on disc. But it was like, okay, I guess I'll just see how cheap it is on the Microsoft Store, unavailable. It's like, thanks, Xbox.
It hits you like a ton of bricks, doesn't it? Especially when it's like, okay, yeah, when I was looking for like specifically Ninja Gaiden 2, the specific bad version that has the better like dismemberment system. Fair. Yeah. This is Left 4 Dead.
This is Left 4 Dead and Left 4 Dead 2, and they were just unavailable. And I then went over to my PC, which I rarely play on because, hey, I don't like gaming at a desk. I don't like doing it. I already spend enough time recording and editing at a desk. I don't want to game at a desk. I just don't find it comfortable.
It's as simple as that of like, I proper man spread as well. I live my life in skinny jeans, so you better believe that when I get the opportunity to sit down and play my PlayStation, I'm going like full on like an arsehole on the train.
When Karl gets his Hello Kitty pajamas on, he's getting out there. Real. And yeah, I was like, I don't really want to game on PC, but I really want to play Left 4 Dead. So I went and checked my Steam account, and it's one of those glorious things with Steam of,
you
no one
plays
like
the games that they
buy. But you boot up Steam, and every now and then, you just want to play a game that you've already bought at some point. And I'm like, excellent. Okay, I already own it. I don't even need to worry about whether it's going to cost me anything. It's just, hey, you own Left 4 Dead. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's fine. So I just boot it up, and I had a glorious time for like an hour.
And it still holds up, right? I've seen footage of it. I watched like I think it was like one of the documentaries, like the making of. Someone had tracked down, like, here's the behind the scenes making of. And the amount of detail, one that got me is, so for the zombie death animations, realise if you're going to be shooting hundreds and hundreds of zombies, we need to give them unique death animations. And at first we thought, Ragdoll. Ragdoll was the standard at the time, but Ragdoll ended up looking too stupid, and it's made the zombies less threatening. So what we did instead is we recorded hundreds of individual death animations that we mocapped and they show you a montage of all the people and it's like based on where they're shot on the body. And then what we do is, based on where you shoot a zombie, it's programmed to do one of like the 20 animations for being shot in that location, and then halfway through the animation they convert to ragdoll, so they don't like fall down flat. So, and the way it works is they'll do that. So say if they're running and you shoot them in the leg, they'll do the leg death animation, but ragdoll will kick in just enough so they keep the momentum.
And it really sells it well. And I did see that, like, I went back to Left 4 Dead 2 to clarify. I'm kind of using them interchangeably.
The polished version. Yeah.
But I know the different campaigns and stuff, but like Left 4 Dead 2 ended up adding all like the Left 4 Dead 1 content anyway. So it's kind of like a definitive version of both. But
I miss definitive versions.
Yeah. Like, I did see though that people had modded back in like the over ragdoll like physics of Left 4 Dead 1 into Left 4 Dead 2, because apparently
in Left 4 Dead 1
bodies in Left 4 Dead 1 were way more exaggerated in the ragdoll.
Yes, like they do, like they like splay out and stuff like that, which I remember again in that making of, they talk about how it does look silly, but we liked it because, say for example, you shoot a zombie and it splays out while it ragdolls and towards you. A lot of players didn't realise that the zombie is dead. So it shocked them because they think the zombies use like...
them out a little bit.
Do you know when Link uses his last possible bit of like stamina to jump that little bit further? A lot of players, until they learn the mechanic, like, okay, you shoot a zombie twice, it's definitely down, and that's just it falling over. A lot of players in the initial few playthroughs thought the zombie was like leaping at them with its last ounce of strength, and it added a new layer of tension to the experience.
Yeah, and we're talking about Left 4 Dead as if people mostly know what it is, Carl. But just to
Wiki Weekends,
briefly refer to the wiki, we are on Wiki Weekends, of course. Left 4 Dead is a 2008 first-person shooter game developed by Valve South and published by Valve itself. And it was originally released for Windows and Xbox 360 in November 2008, and then Mac OS X in 2010. And it is the first title in the Left 4 Dead series, so it never even got onto PlayStation.
That's interesting. I just see again, Left 4 Dead as it's one of those series where, as eventually it went away. It didn't go away for any particularly bad reasons. Just it was enjoyed. People still play it. Evidently, you still play it. I imagine there's probably still a couple thousand people play it any given day. But it had its time and it went away. I always assumed it must have had a PlayStation port at some point.
I would have assumed so,
given how big it was. They got the orange box that was released for a lot of Valve games on it, right?
Yeah, let's
I would have assumed it would have been
Left
part of
4 Dead 2 came out a year later. No PlayStation release.
Yeah, I would have assumed I know the orange box wasn't Left 4 Dead, but I would have assumed something similar. Do you know, here's a collection of Valve games, and that would have made it onto the PlayStation.
That's actually insane. We talk about that era of 360, and I knew Left 4 Dead was an exclusive, but I thought it was a timed exclusive. The fact that PlayStation never got Left 4 Dead is kind of wild.
They play Resistance Follow Man.
You know what was really funny to me?
Is it all the people in the comments of the Halo video saying that Killzone was better than Halo?
The fact that the first comment on that Halo video was saying Killzone was better, that really chuckled me. Thank you for whoever gave that comment.
Where's Killzone Infinite? Where's Killzone 5? I still think the reason people thought Killzone was better is because just the guns were louder.
I admit, Killzone was a good game. We're not dunking specifically on that, just saying it wasn't a Halo killer.
No.
Halo killed itself, Killzone didn't kill it.
As I say in the video, if your game is positioned as the insert title killer, the thing that your title is trying to compete with is better. Because you're already setting yourself up for failure by already acknowledging that the thing you're competing with is better than you are. I don't want to say it, Killzone fucking sucks. Do you know why? Because the PlayStation controller was terrible for first-person shooters.
The PS3 controller is a terrible controller.
And that's why it felt bad. It felt bad to play Killzone because the PlayStation controller felt bad to play a first-person shooter on.
It has terrible thumbsticks and terrible triggers, both of which your thumbs
terrible online.
And fingers will slide off. And bad online compared to the Xbox Live experience, yeah.
Yep. And if someone out there thinks the experience is better, I don't think they'll probably play both. And that's
maybe not.
That's the console warring coming in, right? Which I'll admit I'm privy to, but I had friends who had PS3s, and when I played Killzone on the PS3, it felt bad. It felt bad to hold the controller in my hand.
It is still crazy though when you think of around 2007, 2008 that we had a Left 4 Dead, a BioShock, a Halo, a Gears of War 2 maybe?
And Modern Warfare.
Modern Warfare was affiliated with Xbox, it wasn't exclusive.
But if you ask anybody...
It was marketed towards 360 specifically.
There's a reason why the 360 was the dude bro console. Because it just had all the first-person and third-person shooters on there.
And, Mass Effect...
Xbox 360 fumbled so hard.
How much Xbox managed to fumble from that, 2006 to 2009 to where they were now.
Or a smaller niche that they somehow fumbled as well was fighting games. Because there was a period where a lot of fighting games were played on Xbox. Remember Marvel? Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 was near exclusively played on Xbox 360 at tournaments because the Xbox 360 had multiple USB port inputs. Not to mention the Xbox 360 was cheaper, so it was a lot easier to buy multiple copies for multiple setups.
If you're going to actually run a tournament, it's way cheaper to just buy a bunch of 360s.
And they had a lot of USB inputs, which allowed people to have multiple stick inputs and stuff like that. Then PlayStation literally just bought their way into being the default by buying out Evo
They actually didn't until not long ago, and I think they've now just sold Evo not long ago.
They sold it again, yeah.
Try and fact check it.
Because they basically just bought Evo and started sponsoring a lot of fighting game tournaments and saying, play it on PlayStation, and we'll send you like 15 free PlayStations to play the setup on.
During the PS4 era, they just earned it, though. They actually just became the default before they bought Evo. And that's probably, presumably, why they bought Evo. Because during the PS4 era, everyone just started using PS4s.
Yeah. It's interesting, like, you know, myself and Lucas, we're not really big into like console warring stuff, as I say in the Halo video. I bought the rectangle I could afford. I felt an affinity for it because it's what all my friends played, but I'm not above admitting that some things on PlayStation were better. I
have an affinity for every brand. I'm way more a Nintendo gamer than I am anywhere else, but I have an affinity for each brand. But it's weird that the only one I have only affinity for one era of is Xbox, because I care about the Xbox 360. I don't care about Xbox as a brand outside of that, really.
No.
Whereas I like PlayStation, I really like Nintendo. I'm still not willing to defend either everything.
Neither of us attach too much of our ego onto the things that we consume, because we've got well-rounded personalities that are defined not by the things that we own, but by our other multitude of interests.
Literally, my two favourite gaming franchises are Legend of Zelda and Pokemon, but I will still sit here and
you
call
don't define
Nintendo
yourself
dickheads.
by them, do you, Legend of Kanto?
How dare you?
I was thinking about this the other day. I'm so glad that when I became like an online content creator, I just used my own name. I didn't affect a character. So it's not sad when people watch fact theme videos. Like, you're still making these. Like, well, yeah, it's just an exaggerated version of my own personality. At least I wasn't playing like a character. I didn't dress up in costumes or anything. Or like had a silly name.
Like I did.
No, but I was like using that as a jumping off point. I just thought about that the other day. I'm so glad that I didn't have like a personality for my content, and I'm just me.
It's weird that certain people will pick up a personality that's specifically very close to themselves, not calling out Dr. Disrespect at any point. Of, hey, I'm going to be an asshole because that's my character. So is it your character? Is that just what you feel affinity to?
Also, it's like, to be like, less, or to dwell on like subject matter that's less frustrating and like more monetizable. Like the amount of like content creators who affected a persona. Mm-hmm. And a lot of them, like, no doubt people can think of examples of content creators who did so, who eventually came to either resent that persona or completely abandoned it.
I imagine a person who was very successful with it was probably Angry Video Game Nerd, right? I assume, I would like to think they're not as angry in real life.
Oh, no, they've super calmed down.
Yeah, I presume at some point they've probably gone, yeah, maybe making my entire brand being fucking angry about shit is maybe not been the healthiest thing.
No, but they're really interesting. They
profited off it very well.
Yes, they're really interesting. There's a great Dan Olsen video about it. It's James Rolfe, I believe, right? The Angry Video Game Nerd?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Where it's like a video like, I don't know James Rolfe, and it's like exploring his Dan Olsen's career as an internet personality through the lens of viewing his content and not understanding why he does what he does. Broadly, anyway, he goes more in depth. But something I find interesting is that, like, the Angry Video Game Nerd wrote a book in which he tells his life story, but doesn't seemingly wants to avoid talking about the Angry Video Game Nerd persona or its origins. It's like, and that's what I find fascinating, and something Dan Olsen comments on of. This is the only thing 90% of people, if not more, know the guy for, and he doesn't want to talk about it.
I would argue 99% of people, right?
And the idea of, like, he wrote a book about his life story where he doesn't talk about the one thing people know about. And it mostly dwells on him as, like, a kid wanting to be a filmmaker.
It must be infuriating, because he was clearly just an early YouTube adopter that had one gimmick that
a very
went
popular
really well
gimmick that was very much copied wholesale, cut and cloth.
Oh, yeah.
By a lot of content creators.
there's literal people like more Angry Joe out there that I'm sure entirely
He still wears
derive
the
their
same.
idea.
Speaking of
from
character, every now and again I see him and he still wears the same outfit.
I don't think that's as much of a character as the AVGN.
But the fact he's still dressing in the same outfit with the same shtick,
Mm-hmm.
and hopefully, I hope that guy still finds, at the very least, if not enjoyment, fulfillment doing that.
He seems actually more like the personality that he plays than James Rolfe does.
He wants to be in a band.
It could just be playing a character well.
Could be,
I don't know.
That's the interesting thing, in the book that James Rolfe talks about, 90% of his book is him talking about how he wanted to be a filmmaker when he was younger. It's but you're not, are you?
No. And
it's not a bad thing, but you're not, though.
It is one of those things of, I'm glad that you kind of, early on, told me about your way of approaching it. Yes, I came up with a brand name for my Twitch streams and stuff, and my original YouTube channel of Legend of Kanto. But very early on, you told me to be me, because otherwise that shit just seems exhausting.
I think my advice, broadly was, don't try and play a character, because eventually you'll get sick of playing that character. If you just act as yourself, an elevated version, admittedly, because you're trying to be more quote-unquote on, that could get frustrating, but hopefully you're never going to get sick of being yourself. You might only get sick of having to perform. You can still... In
real life, I'm probably going to be a little bit quieter and more anxious than I am on video, because I'm trying to be a slightly elevated version of myself on camera, but we're trying to just be ourselves, right?
Yes. But
we're just trying to have a little bit of energy as far as when I have energy to not fall asleep on the podcast goes.
We can make that your gimmick, Sleepy Lucas. The Sleepy Lucas.
I don't want to work this.
Well, that's another aspect to it as well I found interesting. I don't know why I went down this rabbit hole. I ended up watching a bunch of old content of The Best Friends. It's Halloween. They did for ongoing The Best Friends. Pat, Wally, Liam, and Matt did a series called The Shitstorm, where it was every Halloween they would just play 30 scary games in a row. It's it's spooky season. I watched something in the background.
Yeah.
And just as you're doing it, you're haphazardly scrolling, looking for the next video to add to your queue. And I just remember reading the comments of all the established lore about each individual personality in the videos. And I was thinking to myself of God, that must have been so fucking frustrating to deal with. So I remember distinctly once of one of the creators, I used to follow him on Twitter and stuff, getting really angry at this lore one of the fans made up they couldn't read. And them getting really pissed off with people sharing that as if it was true. Of that's really fucking weird for you to keep sharing this as if it's true.
Yeah.
Why would you?
And to clarify, for anyone that's wondering why we don't lean too hard into it, we do obviously probably naturally have a couple of inside jokes, but we don't really keep up with
fact fiend, right?
Yeah,
you must remember the meetings
inside
about
jokes
this.
Or anything, because we always talked about the fact that it's probably a bit uncouth for people who are watching the video for the first time to have to deal with a bunch of weird inside jokes that they don't know about.
Yeah, so I can pull back the curtain on this of when Fact Fiend first started and you got brought on as an editor. And we had a meeting about, hey, because you asked me, is there anything I should be aware of when I'm editing videos? Because editors have a degree of autonomy. As long as it's funny and you get the bulk of the content and you fact check any stuff that's not in the script, do whatever you want, whatever's funny. One of the things I clarified is do not put in jokes in the editing. And if you remember from recording sessions, I would always say, if you're going to reference something from a previous video, give context for it, because I don't like the idea
of the original joke or something like that.
Yeah, because I don't like the idea of someone watching a video for the first time and feeling alienated by an in-joke. I also don't want the audience to start coming up with those in-jokes and potentially alienating other fans.
I think that there's a couple of examples, but very
very
minimal compared to probably a lot of other fan bases that or viewerships. I won't say fan bases, but viewerships that lasted that long. Of there was the Maybe As Vampire, which existed before I was even on the channel.
Which, if people will notice, I barely ever used.
Yeah.
Barely ever used. Not to mention
It's
as
still
well,
brought up to this day as well.
Not to mention as well, not having a name for the fan base. That was another one as well. Like, distinctly, do not come up with a name for our fan base. If they want to come up with a name for themselves, that's fine. But I'm not going to use that name because I don't want the moment that happens, there's now an in-group and an out-group, and I don't want anyone who's part of that out-group to feel unwelcome watching my content.
Exactly. Yeah, we always welcome new people. We try to be as welcoming as possible, and it's weird that I always did find it a little bit amusing that there were some people that would refer to you as the Fat Fiend, but then there would be other people that would refer to the fan base as the Fact Fiends.
And I never acknowledged any of it.
You always never wanted to be known as the Fact Fiend. You always wanted to just be known as Karl Smallwood.
Exactly. I never wanted to play a character. I do think, like you mentioned, Xbox 360 days. I'm thinking the early days of Machinima. I wonder how many people from the early days of Machinima are around who played characters, because there were so many angry reviewers and video game personalities and duos. And
really weird. I referred to the Machinima playlists of Halo kills in that Halo video.
Yes.
Wiped off the internet.
Oh yeah, Machinima's gone. We talked about was that dude who did the parody song.
I didn't realise everything had been fully removed.
Oh yeah. When Warner Bros. I think bought it, right?
Yeah, so I think Warner Bros. Had bought Rooster Teeth, which were the owner of Machinima, and then one day they must have finally noticed that Rooster Teeth were this small little company that they owned, and went, that shit's not making money, get rid.
Well, I think even people who owned their channel,
I was going to say,
a lot of their early stuff started on Machinima, got wiped from existence.
Yeah, I think Rooster Teeth owners at the time, when they got destroyed, were just we knew it was coming. We were just waiting for Warner Bros. To realise they owned us. Because they're probably such a small little note on the amount of money they're spending that they were just we were just hoping to get away with it for as long as possible.
Yeah. They just got wiped from the internet. And that's the thing. So that's probably a lot of formative memories for myself and you of those early Machinima days on YouTube, but likely what informed, if not our creative output, at least our sense of humour.
Yeah, I think the Red versus Blue stuff got preserved through Bungie and Microsoft and Xbox and stuff. I think you can still go to the Halo apps and shit like that to watch RVB, but the actual just, hey, do you want to watch Machinima playlists of Halo kills and stuff? All gone.
Do you want to watch any of the early Best Friends stuff? All gone.
Yeah, and just so much of it just fully removed. Not even just left to be preserved on YouTube, just deleted.
As well, it's so much that's internet history, because
it really is, yeah.
The foundation of a lot of internet personalities today was laid by a lot of those early Machinima creators.
Mm-hmm. It's wild to me that just researching a bunch of old Halo stuff that I wasn't able to find anymore because, yeah, you mentioned the Halo 3 Akon parody video. I was able to find that because that's just one individual creator who's just shitposting online, right? And I say shitposting in a complimentary way. They got a lot of views,
someone had a fun creative idea, realised that creative idea, put it on the internet, it still exists.
Yeah, whereas the stuff that's had anything to do with conglomerate companies is just gone. And it's most of it.
As well, speaking of never having or adhering to a creator personality, never signing with a big company.
Yeah. The only actual decent quality video I was able to find of a kill clip from Halo 3 was this random montage from IGN that had just clipped a bunch of other people's clips. And I'm oh god, there's just nothing left.
It's interesting. 2008, wasn't that long ago.
Yeah.
And now it's 2008.
It is. Well, it's not really. 2000 and quarter at this point. Yeah. But
I was referencing the Kesha song. 2008, 2008.
I don't know Kesha, Karl.
Well, she was around in the 2008s.
Cool. I'm not that cool, though. I don't listen to Kesha.
It's
I was
interesting.
listening to fucking Red Hot Chili Peppers at the time.
Fair. That's the thing, though. You mentioned getting the urge to go play some Left 4 Dead. Is there like a content creator you've like wanted to like you've thought about looking up over the last year? Because I said when I looked up the best friends, I was like looking through their archives, like fucking hell, these were massive, and it's like nearly a decade ago now.
Yeah, I mean, like every now and then I'll obviously jump back into seeing what like Team 4-Star or like I think they're like 4-Star. Are they like Team 4-Star still? I think 4-Star Bento is like a spin-off channel as well.
Okay.
And then Death Battle as well. Those are like my two go-tos like every 6 months.
And they're still going.
Just, like
doing their own thing.
Check up on what they're doing. Seeing what they're doing because they're like still my uni days YouTube go-to channels.
And they're still around. That's nice. It's nice that they're still around doing the thing.
Yeah, it's great they're still around. Like, obviously, they're not still doing their main content, but I still follow someone like the Tom Scott, like Lateral channel and the podcast stuff they do. There's not really anyone.
Yeah, like one of the earlier success stories, especially like Tom Scott's British, if I believe, if I remember correctly, right?
Tom Scott's British, yeah. And
early success story of one of the inspirations, not for making content, but I know a few of my friends who are inspired to try and make content because, hey, he was a dude who in uni started doing silly skits with his friend. So I remember being in a couple of silly skits for friends who were trying to ape his success.
Right, yeah. I don't think there's anyone that kind of like... I can't think of one off the top of my head that is a content creator that I haven't watched for like years that I'm like, oh shit, I'll go back to them. But yeah, is there any for yourself?
No, I was mentioning I was curious. I remember the best friends. I was like looking through like their archives. Like, man, they did a lot. Looking back as well, I was like, that's probably too much. The sheer amount of content, like the shitstorm, which was like every October, 30 videos, hour long.
Oh wow, okay.
Different horror games for nearly a decade straight.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah. I like going back to Left 4 Dead to round this out.
I think an interesting period in history, like culturally.
It's really interesting, and it's kind of peak zombie game era as well. I think that I know a lot of people might go against me, and I might just be at the times. I do think that this era was maybe the peak of like co-op era because it also included split screen.
Yes.
And that's the argument I'll make. I know a lot of people have plenty of co-op games to play online now, but we always used to have the option of split screen also.
And split screen whipped ass. I miss it. Yeah. I miss couch co-op. Every time, like, it's the reason why I got completely disillusioned with Halo, of them going on stage, like 343, like, hey, we know how important Halo and couch co-op is, like, the success of the series can be directly traced to the fact you could play on a sofa with your friend. We are 100% committed to putting it in Halo Infinite.
And it only arrived in the form of, I believe, people modding it back into the game. Because they had it working, and for some reason, I don't think ever put it in.
Never.
Let me just double check. I will, like, do some fact checking on the fly here.
It's endlessly frustrating.
Because, as you say, after Halo 5 came out, they went on stage and went, we know we fucked up one thing with Halo 5, and it was not putting split screen in the game. We promise, we fully fucking promise,
it is our number one.
In the next game, it is our priority, and it wasn't in it at launch.
I know it was the priority, though. Fucking selling those mini buys. Those mini buys, that battle pass. Remember, like, the battle pass that was like, if you bought the battle pass for the initial release of Halo Infinite, I think like 50% of the battle pass was skipping through the battle pass. Like 50% of the things you unlocked was just skipping straight to the next level. There was that little content in that game that they were still trying to charge you for. Future.
Right, okay, so it looks like maybe they... Okay. On a Google search, every article seems to be even of different, like, later time periods of, like, 2024 and 25 seem to be going against one another. of a quick Google.
It shouldn't be this
So I've got
hard to
one from,
confirm whether a game has
yeah.
a specific feature.
I've got
Thanks, Internet.
one that is from 2024 saying that it has split screen, and then one from 2025 saying that the cancelled split screen never happened.
You know what? I don't care. They completely lost me as a customer when they went back on that and tried to charge me for playing it.
So this one from 2024 is saying it's missing, but the glitch allows it to happen.
Okay.
So it looks like it maybe didn't ever get added. Again, correct us in the comments if I'm incorrect, but as a quick glance research, every article is either it's there because a glitch let us do it, or it's not there. And I can't believe that, because, as we mentioned, just the literal foundation of Halo was co-op and the multiplayer, both being split screen, and then they promised us, we know we fucked up, we'll put it in the next game, and Infinite didn't have it, at least at launch.
Yep.
And that was the thing that me and you decided to not boycott the game, but just not play the game for, because...
I don't like the idea of I'm going to boycott it. It's like, I'm just not going to play it. It's like the whole thing like Ubisoft. Yeah. They make bad games and I don't like playing them. It's not a boycott. They just don't make games I want to play.
Yeah.
EA. They don't make games that are fun.
Occasionally. I did play Dead Space Remake, but that was a remake.
I think there's a lot... It's not so much a boycott as they just make products that I don't like.
No, I just don't fancy playing Ubisoft games. Because apart from The Lost Crown, which I do actually want to get around to at some point when I've got time, they don't make games that interest me.
Yeah. It's not so much a boycott, it's just I don't care.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that are vying for my attention, and this isn't one of them.
Yeah. But apparently Prince of Persia Lost Crown is one of the best Metroidvanias ever, so I do want to play that one at some point. Got a lot out of Metroid Dread and Hollow Knight Silk Song, so why not try out Lost Crown? But
there's a lot of those big tentpole Ubisoft games that I just couldn't give less of a fuck about.
I don't want to climb another tower.
I'm good. I always say I have been completely satisfied with the Assassin's Creed format since Assassin's Creed 3. I have never felt the desire to play another game in that genre since the release of Assassin's Creed 3.
For me, I did 2 in Brotherhood and was like, yeah, I'm good. I don't even need to play Revelations, I want to say. The third Ezio game. Just didn't need it anymore. So I played 2 of them.
I played Far Cry 3. Have you innovated at all on this format? Nope. Yeah. Good.
I did 2. That was very different. I did 3. That was the Ubisoft formula, kind of coming together. And yeah, didn't need any more after that. But yeah, in terms of Halo Infinite, I do remember us both being excited and saying, hey, we'll buy it and play it co-op. And then co-op just took a long time to come.
I think one of the funniest videos I made is I was playing when it released. I was playing it live on stream and I unlocked the battle pass. And it's just I summed up this is modern gaming, and it's me. I just finished a match of Halo. Here's your XP. Unlock, and it's you've unlocked left shoulder pad on screen, and then a little prompt comes up with buy the battle pass to unlock this. And I went, I just uninstalled the game right there live on stream. I went, what am I playing this game for? Because they don't want me to enjoy it. They want me to give them money to buy a shoulder pad. Fuck this.
Yeah.
It does not respect my time.
Yeah. At least, as a Destiny player, or ex-Destiny player, I guess, at this point, at very least, logging in for a couple of hours each week, I could be reasonably expected to get everything. And for £8 every 3 months, I was like, okay, cool. Yeah, that's fine. I'll get a few cool armors and some emotes and some extra skins and stuff, extra weapons. Cool. Yeah, I'll do that. I enjoy playing this game. And you could also get I think they had an XP booster towards the end of the season as well. So that last couple of weeks, if you'd not even played the season, you could reasonably expect it to just log in for
games
10
will
hours
never win. I've never bought one. I never will.
Yeah, no, I respect that.
They will never win.
I was already deep into the Destiny well before they started doing that shit, so I was, in for a penny, in for a pound at that point.
But I will never do it.
It's the only game I've ever bought battle passes in, and again, it was already because I'd played years. And then I log in and go like, oh, how much does it cost to get like the K-pop Demon Hunters or Huntrix as skins in Fortnite? Because like
£20.
maybe that'll make me play Fortnite, and you're like, oh, 30 quid for 3 skins.
And when you look at thinking like, what can I buy for 30 quid? It's like Claire Obscure.
Expedition 33. If it's a choice between Claire Obscure, Expedition 33, or a Huntrix skin in Fortnite, I know which one I'm buying.
I always just look at it in terms of like food or drink, because food or drink is similarly effervescent, but I think to myself, would I enjoy a takeaway more than I'd enjoy having the skin in this game? Yes, I would. It's going to last just as long. The enjoyment of having it is going to last just as long. But at least like this thing physically affords me nourishment.
It does indeed.
Yeah, and I got a message from my friend. I'm meeting him at 6:30. So I think we might have to wrap up slightly. I'm going to a concert after this. Speaking of Huntrix.
Karl, I was about to wrap up for you.
Oh,
yes.
what a nice guy.
Okay, cool. I just checked the time on my phone and was like, yeah, probably about time for Karl to... He's got a hard out today, so we just got to make sure...
Hard out Smallwood.
Fuck's sake.
Every time. One of my favourite... Do you know, speaking of like in-jokes, it's not an in-joke, but a running gag that I'm a fan of is... Towards the end of recording, when you start to let your guard down, I'll say something completely out of left field and you lose your shit, and then you end the video.
I think that is the closest that we have to an in-joke at this point.
Like, the amount of videos that you present that I have done that for, it must be at least by now a quantifiable percentage of your
A
loads.
good percent.
End with me saying something that you didn't expect, losing your shit, and just ending the video. Like, yeah,
God damn it.
We were recording like the shout outs, weren't we? For like our Patreon producers. And I said, I don't know what I said. Presumably people will see the clip.
Remember.
Watch to the end of like this weekend's uploading videos.
You have a good ability to know what will make me just break completely.
Because we've known each other that long. That's the beauty of knowing each other as long as we have.
It's a good sign that we've had a good friendship for a long time.
But we've probably known each other about as long as Left 4 Dead has been a thing. 2008?
We've probably known each other as long as we haven't known each other at this point.
Yeah, so it's what? We met in university 2010.
Yeah. So
that's 15 years.
15-ish years that we've known each other. So approaching the halfway mark point.
Yeah, so
we all really...
We met when we were like 19.
I would have been 18. So, like, we are really approaching that level of knowing each other as long as we haven't known each other.
Yeah.
We're getting there. Oh, dear. But yes, of course, as always, if you have enjoyed this podcast, make sure to leave us a like wherever you are listening or watching. And I would just encourage you to, as always, check out the Patreon in the description and check if you're subscribed and all that good jazz. But yeah, I think it's been a fun one, and Karl needs to go enjoy your concert. So
I do indeed, yes.
We need to leave. Karl,
Cheers,
what are you going to concert of?
I don't know. It's a friend has bought the tickets.
Oh, you don't know? Oh, a mystery concert for Karl.
Yeah, I'm meeting my friends. Like, so I'll buy the tickets if you buy a drink. I went, that sounds like a decent arrangement. I get to go do something new.
Sounds like a good deal. Yeah. Well, yeah, Karl, go and enjoy your concert, and thank you all for listening.
Cheers, everybody.
Oh, what a funny story. Thank you, Karl or Lucas.
Oh, no, don't. Oh, yeah, we're reacting to the content we just made. I'm like, what are you doing, you idiot? So this is the section of the video where we give a shout out to our big PPs. That is our code we use for our Patreon producers over on our Patreon.
It is indeed. And I somehow got swindled into this with you just improvising the big PP out of nowhere.
Do you know what? Yeah, I made an executive decision. Went, we're going to call our Patreon producers the funniest possible acronym, the PPs. He's doing his dab in. He's bringing it back. I'm showing our age. Lucas is hitting the sickest dab you've ever seen.
So for the first shout out, we've got to give a thanks to Daddy Grunt and Karl. Can you
We
think...
make the joke every time of... I like to put fun clips in for each person who supports us as a big PP. What's your favourite effort from a video game?
Oh, I was going to say, who's your favourite daddy?
Who's my favourite daddy? Ooh. I'd say my dad. My dad's not been doing well recently, so I'll say like shout outs to my dad.
We can't put a clip in of your dad.
No, but I can give him a shout out in a video. No one's going to stop me.
Shout out, yeah. No, yeah. I mean, shout outs to Karl's dad. Yeah.
So cheers to Daddy Grunt and cheers to Papa Smallwood.
Hell yeah. Thank you.
The elder Smallwood. At that point, he's the big wood, isn't
he? He's become the giant oak.
He has indeed, yes. But the next person to shout out is a person who's been supporting our content for a while now, and they seemingly want to see me suffer by taking a gauntlet I threw down many years ago, dipping in a bit of dog poo and slapping me across the chops, because they always submit their Patreon producer name in a language I do not speak. I believe Nahuatl. So, I'm going to give it my best shot now. So, Tinakui, Horshata, Octilane, Tomi, Sema, Sikapatia, Ta, Zemo, Tek Pacho, Nitla, Mashtia, Ipan, Kolta, Machtiployan, and then they have parentheses, you said a different la. Because they got cut off by
the character
limit over on Patreon. And you know what? I'm reaching my fucking limit with these pronunciations.
I keep throwing Karl to that one specifically because I'm like...
Go on, explain this.
You are the one that threw down the mantle of, fuck it, make it a different language, I'll do it.
And so behind the scenes, me and Lucas said, okay, what order are we going to go in for these shout-outs? And Lucas always mysteriously picks the order where I have to say the hard-to-pronounce names.
No, I don't. I specifically always just say, which one does Tinakui Horchata come into? Give Karl that one, because you're the one who threw down that gauntlet.
We're supposed to be in this together. I threw the gauntlet down, did not tell Lucas, and then someone picked it up and just like, do you like the boxing glove arrow from like green arrow? And just hits me across the face with it. But you know they dip it in dog poo first.
But I don't get off much better with the next one because I've got to translate emojis into words apparently.
Go for it.
So we have the burning dragon here with I'd guess like a big eye face, an ubu face, a little mustache face, and then maybe a happy face throwing a table at a very concerned face in emojis.
Very good. Giant eye, dead fish, cat head, guy doing this.
As I often joke, our fans are now submitting to us their names in hieroglyphics. And hoping we know how to pronounce them, which just makes me appreciate another long-time supporter, Rosalindis Memphis, all the more. They've been steadfast. They've been steadfast in both their support and what they want to be referred to in this section of the videos, and I very much appreciate that.
And I'm guessing we still have more of the Memphis song list to go through at this point. Apocalypse.
I found a Nightcore cover that Mark Cohen won't copyright strike. Because I had to make it slightly more Nightcore, because I like to put in clips that we can like slot in the shout-outs to our big PPs in. Mm-hmm. And for Rosalindis Memphis, I keep trying to put in a clip from Mark Combs walking in Memphis. And I found a Nightcore cover that I additionally sped up to make it even more Nightcore.
That is a song I would have never expected to have a Nightcore version of.
There's a Nightcore version of everything, Lucas.
That's true.
Like, Nightcore is for... They're still making it. There's still people out there making Nightcore.
Just the heroes. But speaking of...
That's correct, yeah. There's not people out there. There's fucking legends out there still making Nightcore covers.
But speaking of other heroes, Karl, we do have to thank Kick and Bucket, another hero who... Again, we don't mind that people are changing their names to make it more difficult for us. We do still encourage it. I know that we make the joke of like, how dare you? But we still encourage you to just make it difficult for us because it's funny for content, right?
Yeah, like some people, some members of our audience like shooting us in the backs of the knees and watching us crawl over broken glass.
And I appreciate that we've been getting support from Kick and Bucket.
Feels good.
Who has not decided to do that. They've just, again, kept it simple. But, yeah, I would say to people who are watching this, who are like, man, they really don't like that we're making it difficult. It's like, we do. We're just trying to make this fun.
Another element that plays into it is that we personally feel bad if we can't pronounce the name, because then the person isn't getting the proper credit we feel they deserve. It is indeed, yes. And the next person we move on to, another long-time supporter. We know this because they say in their name, which is Be of Awesome. This month marks 1 year of Patreon support. Here's to another. Cheers. Be a glass emoji. Clink. Be a glass emoji. And I'm not drinking because it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon, but tink.
I mean, I'm drinking some squash, but yeah, clink. Yeah.
I thought you were going to smash that into your camera then. Like you smash it into your camera and then just like smash cut to me and you like in our Discord being like, look guys, we need some more Patreon support because Lucas has no camera.
I need another 500 quid for a camera, please.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the equipment, people probably think like, these videos look real cheap, the equipment's not cheap.
Yeah, no. No, unfortunately not.
It's because those fact fiend coffers were pretty deep back in the day, eh?
Allowance day, ding, 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 ding.
You don't deserve an allowance.
Sure we do. Ding, 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 ding.
Ice cream man, ice cream man.
But the next person we have to thank that also is helping pay towards those expensive equipment costs is Ghost, Little Ghost, Ghost. And those ghosts are little emojis.
That's
so
my
you.
favourite nursery rhyme. Ghost, little ghost,
Ghost. He actually runs off the tongue pretty well.
Yeah, that's a pretty nice little ditty, that.
Yeah.
Ghost, little ghost, ghost, little ghost. Try and say it like 5 times fast. Ghost, little ghost, little ghost, little ghost. I like it. You put a bit of Nightcore behind that. We've got the makings of a song. We've got the makings of a smash hit there.
Do we have the rights to that, or does Little Ghost?
Well, they'll get a producer's credit.
The PP credit.
Yeah, they get a big PP, and they'll be credited on the album as a big PP. But someone else we need to credit is Split Screen, and their name in full is Split Screen asks, would pharaohs think Anubis girls and Curse of Ra are peak? Lucas, you're more online than I am. What is an Anubis girl, and are we going to have to edit this because it's a thing we can't put a clip in or picture of?
So I'm not fully sure, because I googled the term Anubis girl, and the first thing that came up was a fandom of the House of Anubis category females. So it might be the women from the House of Anubis. It may just be girls that look like the fictional mythical character Anubis. I'm not 100% sure. And then the Pharaoh's Curse seems to just be like the curse of Ra. And it seems to like be like memes which involve like Egyptian curses of people being like covered in sand. Yeah,
is anybody out there more online than myself or Lucas who can explain this reference to us? Because I don't get it. If they're talking like just girls doing cosplay as Anubis, I'm all on board with that, but I don't think that's what this is. What is it? A group of 8 teenagers who live together in a Anubis house that serves a boarding house, an elite boarding school in the United Kingdom. It is based on the Dutch and German show Het Huis Anubis. Get all the seasons on iTunes.
On iTunes?
That's enough internet for today.
Yeah,
that's enough internet today. And the last person to shout out someone has a nice, simple name that I'm hoping I'm not going to mispronounce, which is Ranma Sawatame. So thank you very much to Ranma Sawatame for not making me have to look up a wiki on a... I might have to watch this show.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was also my shout out, but yeah, sure, we've just been twisted
Do I
around.
want to go to the Anubis verse?
I don't know. I don't even know if that's what they're referring to.
Is it?
But yeah.
I'm so sorry, Ranma Sawatame. It's like, there's like, just, you got Anubis.
Yeah, no, shout out to Ranma Sawatame, who was meant to be my shout out, and I think Karl just got a bit flustered.
I'm Ranma Sawatame. Sorry about this.
I got flustered by the Anubis verse. Jerome Clark is a main character. He lives at Anubis house. He's a prankster who always has tricks up his sleeves.
Anyway, I hope that Karl can find a very good clip for Ranma Sawatame to round out this one and not just like get absolutely dunked on by some Anubis girls.
Internet, help us.
Internet, please.
In more ways than one, you can also support us on Patreon and like send us down more weird internet rabbit holes if that is your goal.
If that is your goal, we have to look this up. We do. Thank you for your support, everyone.
This is going to be an entire afternoon of Googling for me, Lucas. 1,352 articles.
Thank you all for your support. Carl's going on a weird rabbit hole right now. We appreciate you all, and yeah, thank you for the month of support.